guys, I'm Laura Vitale, and on this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I want to show you how to make potato gratin. Now this is a really simple basic recipe that I feel like everyone should have in their recipe box just because it's delicious, it's easy, it's a crowd pleaser, and especially at the holiday table, you know you need a good potato dish for Thanksgiving. So this is definitely one that you can make and people would love. Now let me take you over the ingredients so we can get started. You'll need some potatoes. I'm using Yukon Golds. I did my best to peel them properly, but obviously I don't care much. You'll need some whole milk, heavy cream, some nutmeg, butter, flour. I've got some fresh sage, thyme, and garlic, a little salt and pepper, and you'll also need some gruyere cheese, which we'll get to at the end. Now the first thing you want to do is get your oven preheated, of course, to 400. Get that out of the way. Now I'm going to get a saucepan, and in my saucepan I'm going to put in my butter, and I'm going to wait for that to melt, because I'm going to make a quick roux just to make sure that we have a really creamy velvety sauce to cover our potatoes. In the meantime, I've got a little pat of butter here in my dish. I'm just going to pop this into the microwave just to melt the butter so that the bottom of the dish is nice and buttered, and it's going to be the perfect bed for the potatoes. I'm going to add in the flour and just mix that and cook it for just about a minute. You want to get rid of that raw garlic, not raw garlic. Can you tell I have garlic on my mind 24/7? That raw flour taste. That's looking good. Now I'm going to add my milk. Whoosh. I'm going to add in my heavy cream. This is an indulging dish, but I have to be honest, it's really delicious. I'm going to then add a couple sprigs of thyme. I'm not even going to chop it, along with my sage and my garlic. And then I'm going to put in a little tiny bit of nutmeg. I love a touch of nutmeg with my white sauce. You just want to make sure you put a little bit in and not a lot, because it can go from sort of delicious and like sort of something special in the background to really overpowering, and it's going to taste like it should be in dessert. I'm going to then season with salt and pepper. My mother would have a fit because she always uses white pepper in her cream sauce. I was born to be a rebel. So I'm going to use black pepper because I prefer black pepper. A little bit of salt. I'm going to let this cook together over about medium-low heat for about, I don't know, 5-6 minutes, or until the sauce thickens. And that's going to, those herbs and the garlic is going to really perfume that sauce beautifully. In the meantime, I got my baking pan, my baking dish here coated with the butter. And I'm just going to take my potatoes. You can do this on a mandolin, but the mandolin is really dangerous in my opinion, so I hardly ever use it. And I'm just going to slice these to about 1/8 of an inch thick. Just use my knife. That's thickened up quite a bit. So I'm going to turn that off. I've already put one layer of potatoes in my baking dish, because what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to fish out the sage and the thyme, just because I feel like it's already done its job. I don't really need it to do anything else. I just wanted to infuse those flavors into my cream and milk mixture just a little bit. If I can find another piece of garlic, it's going to be a surprise for someone. Pour half of this creamy sauce over the top. And then, it doesn't have to be perfect, it's all going to melt together and be gorgeous. And then put another layer of your potatoes on top. Oh, that looks amazing. Let me take my wooden spoon and get every little bit of that cream out of there. You can really, really smell the herbs too. And they were only in there for a few minutes, but the heat kind of really helped get those lovely aromas out. Oh, how fabulous. Okay, now I'm going to cover this with some aluminum foil. I'm going to pop this into the oven at 400 for about 45 minutes. It needs to be in there for quite a bit because those potatoes need to cook. And once everything starts to cook together, once you top it with shredded cheese, it all makes sense. You're just going to have to trust me on this. So cover this up, and I'm going to pop it into the oven. Look at that. Look at that. Now these, as you can see, the potatoes are fully cooked. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncover it. I'm going to cover the top with some shredded gruyere. Now you could use cheddar, you could use whatever cheese you want, but I love gruyere because it's that lovely nutty flavors that I absolutely adore. And I also feel like it is a stronger cheese, so I don't need to use a lot of it. And on top of that, I feel like by using gruyere instead of cheddar makes this a little bit more special. Perfect for the holidays. All right, back into the oven. At this point, it just needs to be in there for about 15 minutes or so, or until the top is golden brown. And then we're gonna let this cool just a bit before we serve it. You should smell this right now because you can really smell the sage and thyme and garlic. It's delicious. Definitely worthy of being on your holiday table this year. And now chatting into the oven. Once I put the cheese back on, this was in the oven for 15 minutes. I let it cool pretty much completely because as soon as it came out, it was bubbling and it was making me a little bit nervous. But now it's time to dig in. All right, now this is very rich. So when I tell you you should be able to get a good 8 portions out of this as a side dish, I really mean that because it is so rich, because the cheese is so delicious and flavorful. Really, I don't think you need a portion any bigger than this. I know you can probably even stretch it out to feed about 10 people or so because of that factor, because we used a really good flavorful cheese. A little goes a long way, and flavor wise it does the job beautifully. It is so creamy and delicious. It like melts. This is fantastic. And this is the thing too. I know it's the season of indulging. I totally hear ya, but go ahead and try to get little bites of here and there instead of piling your plate up with a ton of things, because you don't really get to enjoy everything on your plate as much as you should if you do it that way. That is delicious. It's creamy and velvety. You can taste the garlic and herbs. It's nutty from the cheese on top. It's pretty much the best potato gratin you will put your lips around, I guarantee it. Go to laurainthekitchen.com to get this recipe. I hope you enjoy spending time with me, and I'll see you next time.